here it is. As you can see here, not many technical turns. Instead, it's much more about keeping your speed. There's no boosters either, so that makes it not classify as a full speed track, I would say. Instead, it's much more like a NASCAR type of track. And it looks like we are starting, no warm-ups needed for either teams. And we are following Gus for WOF. Junido will cross the checkpoint first. Oblique was at third, so we will see Gus slowing down here at the jump to let his teammates pass him. He did drop down a bit too much though, I think. Awsomniac and Friends definitely did it better. It's all about staying as close to each other as possible. So good stuff there from Awsomniac and Friends. Rilu keeping first place. Lars though losing a bit of speed. But oh, that was a terrible relay from WOF. Gus had to slow down a lot, and as a result he will be far behind now. So looking good for Awsomniac and Friends to win the first point. Here's Marius 89. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to slow down before the jump even, so that you can build up the speed before rather than after landing, because I think that is a bit slower. Marius 89 now going up to first place. Rilu up next. And no red team in sight. They are quite far behind, entering lap 3 out of 5. Another good relay there from Awsomniac and Friends. They know what they are doing. They've participated a couple of times already, so they are more than used to this type of format, which of course is quite different from normal Trackmania. Also by the fact that oh, and that's gonna actually be the end of the round. Looks like WOF failed a couple of relays, which I missed. And we will also see a paused game here from Awsomniac and Friends. Lars apparently had his game crashed, so we will have to wait for him. But as I was going to say, it's also different because the maps are the same maps are being played every week, which isn't really standard for Trackmania. For Trackmania, we usually see new maps, if not every week, then every other week, or like every third week. But for this event, the organizers seems to want to use the same 5 maps every week. And Lars will have 5 minutes. He will have to restart his game, and I believe I recall that he got a lot of replays, and that means that it's gonna take a long time for him to start up his game. Because I think it may take more than 5 minutes otherwise. So we may have to wait here for a couple of minutes. Not much to do about it. And I guess as we are waiting, I can let you know that this weekend I will be casting the first ESWC qualifiers. I'm not sure if it's on Saturday or Sunday. I think it's on Sunday maybe, not sure. But yeah, I'll be casting that one, should be interesting. I believe it's top 2 that will qualify to the grand finals, taking place in October, I believe. And then also the weekend after that, the second qualifiers will take place, and I will also cast that. Alright, so still waiting for Lars, and I think it's gonna be actually like maybe 5 more minutes, because If you have a lot of replays in this game, then you will have to wait a long time before you can boot up your game. I was hoping maybe he had moved his replays since last time we had to wait for him, but looks like that is not the case, so we are having to have a bit of a break right now. Okay, Lars is back, so that didn't take as long as I expected, to be honest. So we should be starting here pretty soon again. Awsomniac and Friends in the lead with 1-0. Let's hope that Lars won't have another crash. Alright, so that's gonna be the end of the break. And we are going live again on this first map, Head Over Hells. Awsomniac and Friends versus WOF. And off we go again. Let's follow Relu this time. So we are going through the first couple of corners. Oh! As we see Lars crashing. That was kind of odd actually. I'm not sure what happened, because that turn wasn't too difficult, but of course that's gonna put Awsomniac and Friends in a really difficult spot, having to wait for Lars. They can't really go for, well, actually I think they could maybe go for the relay fails here and just go by normal speed and maybe allow Lars to catch up and then hope that WOF won't screw up. I think that may actually be a viable strategy in this scenario, because of course now it's going to be very difficult for Awsomniac and Friends to catch up if WOF know what they are doing. They may not be as familiar of this track though, and especially not this style. The map they played in the first round was Tech, this is NASCAR. So maybe still small hope for Awsomniac and Friends to catch up. But they are still very, very far behind. Here is Junie going through the last turn before entering lap 3. See how far behind Awsomniac and Friends are now. I believe they may have caught up a bit. Yeah, they definitely have, but actually, yeah, they seem to be driving much faster here than WOF, so I could actually see them catching up, unless they screw up the relays again. But definitely much closer now, caught up at least a couple of seconds compared to the previous lap, so definitely doing these relay checkpoints faster. As we now enter lap 4. Not that much left to go though. The time is running out for Awsomniac and Friends to make the comeback. 14 points apiece. Now they haven't really caught up as much as they did in the last lap, and it looks like was that Relo getting a landing bug? Shouldn't be too costly though. And they are still a few seconds behind there, catching up for each lap. But now only one more lap remaining for WOF to secure their first point. Oblique going up to first place. Now it's Junie's turn over the jump. No landing bug, so that is good. Now Awsomniac and Friends now going for first place. They realize that they got nothing to lose, but they did it too early. WOF smartly decided to still do the checkpoint successfully, and they will take the point there. But definitely a good decision though by Awsomniac and Friends. They had nothing to lose, and maybe by catching up to WOF on the track, they could have forced some blunders from their opponents, but that didn't happen. WOF will tie up the score at 1-1. As it seems like Lars had his pad disconnecting, so that's why he crashed. It kind of looked strange, so that explains why. Alright, live into the third round now. We are of course playing to 3 points in a best of 3. This is the first map. The blue team with a small lead. They definitely seem faster on this track, so if they can avoid crashing, then I believe they should have a good chance to secure the point. As we enter a lap 2. Now, as you can see, Awsomniac Friends with a bit of a lead here. Ghost having to slow down a lot, waiting for Oblique, who seems to have made a small error. Which of course is great news for Awsomniac Friends. Entering lap 3 out of 5. Oh, and I believe the red team may have made an additional mistake. They are even further behind now. And this is gonna be Awsomniac winning it. No, not actually. That was really close. But WOF managing to sneak in another checkpoint. But now maybe Awsomniac Friends will win. No, actually not. It's still only a 2-point difference. But it's only a matter of time, I believe, before Awsomniac Friends can secure the point. Maybe now in the finish line. Let's find out. Yes, there we go. Awsomniac Friends will take it. And they are now back in the lead at 2-1. And of course, that will also mean map point in favor of Awsomniac Friends. And now we know why they wanted to pick this map. It's clear that they are feeling pretty confident on it. But this is also the only track that is a bit different. The other ones are more tech oriented, which may suit WOF a bit better. This team, of course, consisting of players that aren't really stadium specialists, although they all are, of course, very familiar of the environment. But they are also playing the other environments quite frequently. And now we already see the blue team with the lead. Here's Gus, he's quite far behind and he is the next player. Oh, Lars drops down! Lars with another crash here. And all of a sudden WOF is put in an awesome position to tie up the score. Very, very similar to what happened 2 rounds ago. So that is a nightmare for Awsomniac Friends. Especially for Lars, who was the reason why they lost all that time. Entering lap 3, WOF, by simply driving more consistently, about to secure another point, and then we see Gus crashing. Maybe they did the same mistake as Lars did. So now we may see Awsomniac Friends catching up, but no, they are still far behind. And we did actually see WOF going for that failed relay, which I think was a smart choice. So now that means that Awsomniac Friends are in the lead with 1 checkpoint. Oh, what happened here? Oblique with a mistake, but still ahead of Awsomniac Friends. So yeah, they must have made another mistake here, and I believe they did it there as well. They did have the chance to catch up twice, but not able to take it. Definitely closer though, and this could still go either way as we are now entering lap 4. Yeah, for those who don't know this format, it's called chase mode, The last player to cross a checkpoint in a team need to be the first player to cross the next one. So that's why you see Gus slowing down here. Oblique was last and now he took first. Now Junie, who entered that checkpoint at last place, will have to enter this checkpoint at first place. And you see them doing that successfully. And you get a point for each successful checkpoint that you cross. If you have 3 more points than your opponent, then you win the round. Or if you finish first after 5 laps. And we are about to enter the last lap now. Awsomniac and Friends continue to struggle. And WOF should have this one in the bag. They can play on the result if they are aware of where their opponents are, which I'm pretty sure they are. So they will take it safer than usual. Failing that relay, but it's not really a big deal. As you see the score being tied at 16 points apiece. Now Gus going for the finish line here. First place is all that matters to secure the point. Don't have to wait for your opponents, or your teammates rather. So Gus will secure this point for WOF. And that's gonna put the score at 2-2. One more round remaining of this first map. Head over Hells. Lars with some big blunders for Awsomniac and Friends, costing them the points. See if he can do better in this upcoming round. Alright, here we go into the final round. Let's follow Marius89 this time for Awsomniac. He's gonna enter the checkpoint at last place, so he will now advance to first place. And as always, Awsomniac and Friends with the better start. Oh, but here comes WOF though with lots of speed. Still extremely close with one lap having been played. Lars dropping down a bit too much. And in fact, it is WOF with the better start. Awsomniac and Friends looking very strong early on this map, but not really anymore. WOF has found their groove on this track, and oh, as we see also a relay fail from Awsomniac and Friends, I believe because Marius89 crashed. So Relay decided to go for it, and another relay fail. This is gonna be it. WOF will take the first map against Awsomniac and Friends. As we move on to the second map, can't remember which one it was. Okay, we see it there at the top. It's gonna be Control Plus C by Sorrow Croatia. And that's gonna be more of a tech track. And it is of course the one that WOF played on already in their first match against the Overpowered. So they are already warmed up on it, which may be pretty bad news here for Awsomniac and Friends, who are now risking going down to the loser bracket already. So we have a couple of warm-ups now, maybe bit more than we had on the first map. This one of course maybe requiring a bit more warm-up since it's more difficult. 20 seconds left on the timer. Meanwhile, in the other winner bracket semi-final, Bieber and Company defeated Paragon Crash with a 2-0 score. And I believe we are live here into the first round. And where is Morris A9? Where is Morris? He is standing still. He has disconnected. That is unfortunate. So Rielu will vote for a paused game. We'll see if WOF is seeing that, because otherwise they will get the point. And they are still... Okay, no. They will vote it as well. So we will now have to wait for Morris 89. Awsomniac and Friends continue to have these disconnect problems. Maybe Rielu will be the next one on the next map. So now we are again waiting for a player from Awsomniac and Friends, this time Morris 89. Hopefully it won't take too long. But yeah, anyways, as I said, Bieber and Company did win the match, so whoever wins this match will go up against them in the winner bracket final. Paragon Crash will play against Overpowered in the first round of the loser bracket. And in the loser bracket, it's always a best of one. And as I learned at the start of this tournament, the first round is also a best of one. So only the winner bracket semis and the winner bracket final and the grand final are best of threes. Alright, Morris A9 is back. And we should be starting momentarily. Alright, so looks like the teams are ready. And we are starting the first round of this winner bracket semi-final of the Paragon League Chase Cup Edition 5 between Awsomniac and Friends and WOF, who did win the first map with a score of 2-3. So if they win the second map, they will qualify to the winner bracket final, where Bieber and Company await. We do see though that Awsomniac and Friends will get the better start, led by Rielu. Oblique dropping down slightly for his team. But then we also see Awsomniac and Friends slowing down a bit, so that's gonna allow us WOF to catch up a bit. But then entering the next lap, Awsomniac and Friends back in a small lead. Really close though. Juni now falling behind a bit. Oblique and Gus having to wait for a bit longer. Let's take a look at where the blue team is. There's Rielu. Will be passed by Lars. And Lars 89 will cross the finish line at first place, lap 3. And then suddenly we see that WOF are further behind. Oh, and a big bump there for, was it Juni maybe? Landed on the border. And that's gonna cost him even more time. Awsomniac and Friends now about to get 3 more points than their opponents. May happen here in the end, where the checkpoints are a bit closer. 10-8 now, and soon might be 11-8. Let's find out. No! Looks like WOF were able to cross that next checkpoint with a small margin, but this is only a matter of time, as mentioned. Awsomniac and Friends still looking very solid. Soon entering also the final lap. No opponents in sight. Let's see if they can do it this time. 14-12. I think, yeah, this might be it actually. And it will. Awsomniac and Friends will take the first point. But of course, we did see this kind of dominance from Awsomniac and Friends on the first map as well, and then WOF were still able to come back and ultimately win the map, so still not gonna call it, even though Awsomniac and Friends are looking pretty strong. We do see Rielu crashing before the drop, gets a no drift as well, and of course that will cost his team a bit of time, so WOF now with the better start. See if they can keep this lead. It's not a big lead at all, so could definitely see Awsomniac and Friends coming back from this, entering lap 2. Let's follow Awsomniac and Friends as they are on a quest to make up for their early mistake. Still not that far behind, so that they risk losing the round by having 3 less points. But they definitely still need to start driving maybe a bit more riskier. Not really catching up that much at the moment. Okay, Gus. We'll lose a bit of speed here for WOF. Awsomniac and Friends catching up. Now entering lap 4. This might be an exciting finish. Once we get into lap 5 though, we will see the players going for the finish line. That was a really bad relay from the red team. And all of a sudden Awsomniac and Friends are now the ones in the lead. Can quickly change if you see that relay fail showing up. So now Awsomniac and Friends only with 1 lap remaining, about to win their 2nd point in a row. Seems to be a bit more comfortable on this map. Oh, Lars crashing, but he avoided the wall to the left at least. That could have been much worse. Now Marius can just go for the finish line here, nothing to risk anymore. Also Rielu going for it, just to be safe. Oh, and Rielu did crash. Marius A9 will take first. 2:38. I feel like that's a pretty quick. That's a pretty quick round from Awsomniac and Friends. Maybe one of the closest one, the fastest ones we've seen. And if you keep that pace without failing the relays, then it's gonna be tough for the other team. So Awsomniac and Friends now up to map point, trying to tie up the score. It's a pretty good start from both teams. WOF though with maybe a small lead at the moment. It's not much to brag about though. Oh, and that was a no drift from Gus, which is enough for Awsomniac and Friends to regain the lead. Rielu will enter the next lap at first place. The red team now a bit further behind as well. Looks to be a quick win for Awsomniac and Friends. Rielu also entering the next lap. No, actually, was Morrissey? No, Lars that entered that first place. Rielu dropping down his speed just before the finish line there. But we do see WOF not that far behind, still doable for them to stay alive on the second map. Oh, and what's going on here? Rielu is going for a really wide line. Looks like Lars may have crashed again for Awsomniac and Friends. And now WOF goes up to first place. Lap 4 now out of 5. But this is still a really close round though. Where's Lars? Where is Lars? Okay, there he is. See if Awsomniac and Friends can come back from this. At this point, I think they need to rely on a mistake from WOF, because very soon they can go for the finish line. Awsomniac and Friends though with the lead in the checkpoints, as you can see, so that means that they could go for the finish line before WOF. I think Marius A9 now will go for it. Let's see if he can pull it off. Oh, he's gonna pass Juni maybe. This is gonna be really close. It's Juni versus Marius A9 for first place. Marius A9 losing his speed in transition, and he's gonna brush the pillar. And that's gonna mean that WOF will take the point. Juni first. Rielu was actually also really close to him. Only 600s behind, but that was a good round. WOF will survive by a hair, so a really close round. I think that was probably the closest one I've seen so far in this format, so that was pretty exciting. 2-1 for Awsomniac and Friends, who of course will still have the map point, their second one. They were in the lead for the majority of that previous round. Then I believe, was it lap 4, they allowed their opponents to pass them. See if they can do a better job defending their first place. They usually got the better start, so it's the case as well this time. But as you can see, Gus goes straight into the wall. That's gonna give Awsomniac and Friends an awesome opportunity to close it out. No, but did they fail the round? The checkpoint there, I think they may have done it actually, yeah. WOF instead will take the lead in the checkpoints. That was a bit unfortunate. But still though, keeping the lead here, so they can play on the results a bit. Oh, Gus another small blunder. That's gonna put his team further behind. Entering lap 3 now. Awsomniac and Friends on their way to force a third and last map. Which I believe is Diablo, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another tech track. Alright, they are keeping the same distance. Lars goes into the wall. Oh, that's unfortunate. That will allow WOF to come back. Entering lap 4, here they come. Oh, what a disaster for Awsomniac and Friends. All because of Lars hitting that wall, and that's gonna be it. The red team wins it. Awsomniac and Friends failing a couple of relays there. Wow, talk about throwing away a point. They had that in the bag, no doubt. But two unfortunate things happened there. First, Lars, I think he got a no drift and crashed hard, and then they also failed the next couple of relays. So WOF will force a last round here on the second map. They now also, of course, having the map point. Oh, but what a bad start though. Not sure what happened, but they are now behind quite a lot. So they will have to rely on Awsomniac and Friends to throwing away this point as well. That would be the third time in a row that they are losing the point by their own. So let's see if that's gonna happen again. They have an even bigger lead now, I think. Actually, maybe not. WOF not too far behind, as you can see, but still definitely reliable on Awsomniac and Friends making mistakes. Lars avoiding the no drift that time, but I bet he's a bit more careful going through that turn now because of that no drift. Alright, oh, Lars hitting that wall, but not really making a difference, of course, in this format. Let's see where... oh, they were too far behind, and they also failed the relays. Awsomniac and Friends will, despite all, winning it in their third attempt, having the map point. So we will now see a third and decisive map, and it is indeed going to be Diablo, a track created by Tona for STC 10 and C9 from last year. So we are moving on to that one. Let's see if we will have a bit of warm-ups again, or if we will start it immediately like we did on the first map. Looks like we will see a bit of warm-up. This map still haven't been played by neither team in this cup specifically, so I'm sure they want to at least drive a couple of laps so that they are a bit more prepared on it. But yeah, a pretty close match, to be honest. I thought maybe going into this match that Awsomniac and Friends would have the upper hand, but although they do seem to be driving the faster rounds, they are also making a bit more mistakes than their opponents. So they both got their advantages and disadvantages, I suppose. And that makes for a pretty open outcome here in this match. Still warm-ups. This part of the track can be a bit tricky. Often seen the players having some problem with it. And it's also a place where you can lose quite a lot of time. Alright, so now we will see the timer starting. I think... yeah, so the timer will like go down the more people that press F6. So that's gonna be the end of the warm-ups. And here we go, the third and last map of this winner bracket semi-final between Awsomniac and Friends and WOF. It's been really close. WOF won the first map 2-3, and then Awsomniac and Friends won the second map 3-2. See if it's gonna be another 2-2 score on this map. As we see Awsomniac and Friends with the better start. And wow, a much better start this time. Still no relay fails from WOF though. In fact, I believe they are in the lead actually, so Awsomniac and Friends must have made a fail. And they make another one there, but still the score is the same, so must have been mistakes from WOF as well. Some nerves playing a factor, perhaps. But still, Awsomniac and Friends keeping the lead on the track. And I think they are also extending their lead a bit. So we are entering lap 3 now. Oh, no drift there from Lars. Let's see if they can get through this section successfully. Looks like they will. Relu had to slow down a bit there to allow Lars to pass him. Still about the same distance down to the red team. And now Awsomniac and Friends also in the lead with more checkpoints. 11-10, it's gonna be 12-10 now. We'll have the opportunity to maybe close it out at this part where the checkpoints are closer. 13-11 and 14-11, yes. Awsomniac and Friends will take the first round, putting the score at 1-0. But we've seen this before on the first map and also on the second map, and then they started to struggle after that. See if they will win the second round as well, like they did on the second map. See Marius going for that slower route on purpose, but it still was a failed relay by Awsomniac and Friends. Wow. A bit of miscommunication perhaps, so that means that the red team are in the lead, though Awsomniac and Friends are maybe... no, another relay fail! Awsomniac and Friends not able to keep it together. 1-3 now in favor of WOF, and that's gonna be it! After only having played one lap, wow. So we again see Awsomniac and Friends struggling with the relays. 1-1, starting the third round. And this time, to make things worse, it's WOF who will take the early lead. Though not with much. See Junie dropping down maybe a bit too much. But still anyone's round to win. No relay fails so far. It's 3 points apiece entering lap 2. And it's still really close. Junie though quite far behind for the red team, which will put Awsomniac and Friends in the lead with half a second or so. Still nothing much. And now it looks like the red team is back. So a mistake from the blue team this time, from either Rilu or Lars. And they will have to slow down again here, waiting for Lars. Bad section by Awsomniac and Friends. Continues to struggle with these relays. Here is WOF now in the lead, entering lap 3 out of 5. Whoever wins this round will go up to match point, so this is a really important one. Alright, entering lap 4 now. Where's Awsomniac and Friends? Looks like they are losing a bit of ground here. Definitely not getting closer. Looking good for WOF to win this round. Keeping themselves close to each other so that they don't lose too much time in these relays. Oh, Gus dropping down a bit though. Oh, and then Junie will hit the wall. Awsomniac and Friends coming up to the final lap will pass them. What a twist of event here. Awsomniac and Friends now in the lead, and we see the relay being failed by the red team as well. And again, Awsomniac and Friends now in the lead with 2 checkpoints. They can't fail this one. WF will have to go for the successful one, but they are too far behind. And Awsomniac and Friends will win the point. And they have now reached the match point at 2-1. Wow, that time it was WOF who threw away the point because they had it. 1 lap left to go where when Junie crashed into the wall, and that was very, very decisive. Especially at that part of the map where you have so much speed. Oh, and another bad start for WOF. Awsomniac and Friends now with a golden opportunity to win this match and advance to the winner bracket final where Bieber and company await. They are also in the lead in the checkpoints with 1 point. Entering the next lap now in the lead with 2, at least for a brief moment. They could maybe close it out here. No, okay, that was bad, but they avoided the fail at least. Still in the lead with 2 checkpoints for a brief moment as mentioned, but not that far ahead so that they can close it out in the next checkpoint. But definitely looking very, very good for Awsomniac and Friends. That was not a very good relay though, so allowing WOF to get a bit closer. Oh, Rilu having to slow down a lot. That was really bad, and now they have to wait for him. Oh, this is so bad. That's gonna be a relay fail for Awsomniac and Friends, and that's gonna put WOF back in this round. Somehow though, Awsomniac and Friends in the lead. No wait, never mind. This 11 or 12 points apiece now is really, really close. Soon entering lap 4 out of 5. Yeah, this is gonna be really close. And again, Awsomniac and Friends struggling with this pod. Rilu entering the checkpoint, even though he didn't want to. And now Awsomniac and Friends are really far behind. What is going on there? That must be some kind of miscommunication, maybe in TeamSpeak, if they are talking to each other, because that looked really strange. And they did it 2 rounds in a row as well. So now WOF about to secure this point and get the 2-2 point, as I was talking about. The first round, or I mean the first map ended with 2-3, the second map with 3-2. And now it looks like we will be in the same situation again, and that's gonna be... What? What? Okay, so looks like WOF failed those relays for some reason, and Awsomniac and Friends will take it. Alright, so Awsomniac and Friends advancing to the winner bracket final. WOF will drop down to the loser bracket. GG!